So today we're having another interview with a great college athlete that is coming from Hawaii to speak to us. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Dawn Miranda. I am from Oahu, Hawaii. I play soccer at the University of Colorado Boulder.
So tell us, how did you fall in love with soccer?
I come from a soccer family, well, at least on my mom's side. My grandpa played soccer. My mom, both of my uncles, they played soccer growing up. My uncles went to college for soccer. So we kind of just started off playing soccer first. My siblings, my cousins, we all played soccer. And from there, I kind of just fell in love with it. You know, that was the only sport I really knew when I was younger. So
when did you know soccer is going to be my life? When do you think it was that point where you were like, this is not just fun. This is I want to do this. I want to be this.
I think for me, it was when we started going on soccer tournaments. It kind of started to get serious. I knew I really fell in love with the sport and had passion for it when we had lost a game, in a semifinal game or a championship game, or even if we didn't make it to the semis, I would cry and that would hurt me a lot. So that's when I realized I was like, okay, I really do love this sport. And then it just got more serious when I started playing ODP, which is Olympic Development Program. It was a big thing when I was younger. Made it on the region team. And then that's when I was like, okay, soccer is really it now. I have to pursue this dream.
It's interesting that you said it was in defeat and how you responded to losing, that you kind of found this awareness of I must really love this if I feel this way about it. How do you think you handle that feeling that pressure of man, I'm in love with this sport and now I have to do something about it? How do you think you kind of handle that?
I think I handled it pretty well. Mm-hmm. I know when I was younger, it really hurt me. Mm-hmm. My parents' advice that they would give me when I was younger, kind of using that hurt to not let it happen again, feeling the pain of a loss or whatever it was, to kind of use that to fuel me to, never let it happen again. So
walk me through now, I love the sport. I'm playing it. I'm on a professional track. Now I'm ready to go to college, right? How do you come to the place where you're trying to evaluate, where do I feel safe playing this love out on a bigger stage, with more at stake and things like that? So how did you make that decision or go through that process?
Of that process of going to play collegiately?
Yeah, and where would you go in all of the
so for me, I did have components that I wanted to, because growing up, my parents said, if you're going to go to college, use your sport to get there. Mm-hmm. Use your passion, use your dream. So I used soccer, obviously, to get me to college. My recruiting process, I definitely had different components that I wanted schools to have. So when I would communicate with schools or when I would research certain schools, it was to see if they had those components. Mm-hmm. For me, it was to get playing time as a freshman, because that's always a hard thing to do, but I felt like I could achieve that. To have coaches that believed in me and that knew my passion and dream of playing on professionally, and that could help me get to that level. And then just to have a team that played my style of play, so possession, that made me be comfortable as a player, with the player that I am. So with those things, I took those into consideration, talking to schools, and then I just went to Colorado. That's when I came to the decision to commit to Colorado.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of self-awareness involved in making that decision and thinking about those things, right? How do you think the sport help you find that self-awareness and develop that self-awareness to have that kind of personality to make those kinds of decisions, even going into thinking about what school to go to?
Well, soccer has taught me so much things. I mean, a lot of life skills that I have now. So kind of, I would say soccer helped me make this decision to know what kind of person I am, to have that drive, the grit, perseverance, all of that soccer has taught me. So I think it helped me get to where I am now and the school I'm at now. But just knowing and kind of, it's just that feeling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that feeling that I just knew.
Yeah. So, like, and you talked about your family quite a bit. Now, you're from Hawaii.
Yes.
Like, Hawaii is, we think about Hawaii's beauty, the palm beaches and things like that. But I think the biggest thing that people miss is like the family and community, right? And like, you're very far from that. And I guess soccer is a big part of that story, right? The community and family.
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that? Like, that distance and being away from
right.
your thing?
Being from Hawaii is very family oriented, like you said. So for me, I do have family members in Colorado. My mom's biological sisters live there. And then one of my first cousins, he used to live there like for my freshman year until junior year. So I kind of had them to fall back on. I think also to me growing up and being a part of Hawaii, it's a very diverse, like there's a lot of diversity in Hawaii that I kind of just knew how to adapt. It was a bit hard without having my family there in the beginning. My freshman year, they did come out to as much games as they could. But for me, how I just handle it is I feel like all the traveling that I did beforehand and everything kind of prepared me for this, for where I'm at right now. So I just call my parents as much as I can, and talk to them on the phone or whatever it may be. But I feel like I've handled it pretty well. I know a few people in Hawaii don't do so well. They get homesick and everything. I was ready to get away from home. So I knew I was ready just to be away and I would be okay.
So that homesickness, because when I played sports and things like that, and a bunch of us like left our small town or whatever and went off to play, but a lot of us came back because of homesickness. Like, do you think like the traveling and all of that you did while being in sports early helped you? And if you didn't have that, how different the experience of being in college would have been if you didn't have that?
I think it did help me a lot. I played with the national team, so I would go a week without, being with my family. I've also played in tournaments and I've had to travel. I traveled by myself when I was younger, probably like when I was 12 years old. I would travel by myself. So I think that really prepared me to be independent and to kind of live life younger and be able to adapt to certain people that I'm around. If I didn't travel, I feel like it would affect me a lot because like I said, a lot of people from Hawaii, they don't get those opportunities that much of traveling and everything and just being on their own. And I think that's why a lot of them do come home. So I'm very thankful that I had the experience beforehand and everything. Now,
you said at 12 years old, you were like traveling on your own.
I think it was 12. I was really young when I was traveling alone.
And like, do you think your parents really had like, is it something that you think that because we had a conversation earlier and it sounds like it's like your parents were like grooming you to be ready for this kind of lifestyle. Do you think that was an intentional thing or like, it was like, hey, we have to see if you really want this. And so this is a part of like that training process.
Right. I know it was definitely a hard time for my parents when they were, letting their baby go off on their own. But I think like I had talked to them and they knew my desires of playing on further within, professionally, national team, Olympics, all that. Like that was my dream, still is my dream. So I think they knew that these are sacrifices they would have to make in order for my dreams to come true. And they've made a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah. I think one of the things that are interesting is that when we're like personally going through our journeys and we're kind of writing our own stories, we don't think about the people that are writing the story alongside us and have to kind of change their story so that we can have ours. Like, how does it like influence the way you do things when you think about like the sacrifices your parents had to make in order for you to be in college playing soccer? Like, do you think about that a lot, or is it something like that doesn't really come up because like you're in it?
I do, actually. I mean, that's my way of giving back to them for all the sacrifices they made. When I was younger, I definitely, took it for granted and everything. But then reflecting back onto it now, they have made a lot of sacrifices. Whether it was, they had to work overtime or take us immediately from work to practices, be there for so long, all the money they put into us. It goes without like saying like how much effort they put in. So I would say I mean, there's really no words I could like say to thank my parents for all that.
Mhm.
But I do think of it to this day, and like I will kind of tell them here and there, but in my version of paying them back, or like not really paying them back, but how I feel like this is the way I can pay them back, how I can make them, you know, be proud of it and everything, and feel like all the sacrifices they made
Mhm.
like like it's happening for a reason. So
Yeah.
I kind of just, you know, within school and soccer, I kind of pay them back in that way of.
Yeah. I mean, I think I appreciate that sentiment, because I think a lot of people don't talk about like that side of it. One thing I wanted to ask though is like, do you think there's a pressure that innately comes with that because you know, somebody had to sacrifice so much for you, and like that you take that with you when you play? How do you manage like mentally and emotionally like the reality of like, you know, soccer is a dream, but that might not be the reality.
Yeah.
Like, how are you preparing yourself for that in terms of like handling that if that's the case?
Well, if soccer doesn't work out, which I don't want to say that, but if it does,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of prepare myself with the studying that I have in school. Obviously now as a senior, I have to think about my future and where I'm going to go, what I want my career to be if soccer doesn't work out, you know? So as pressure, like feeling pressure, I mean, there is pressure for sure, because now after this, I'm in the real world. It's reality. So I do feel a bit pressured from it, but I mean, that's life.
So like, is there things that you do to kind of help you manage that? Is there like, I don't know, like exercises you do, like apps that you use, or journaling, things like that, that you kind of to help you manage like when that comes up, especially like this is a critical year. I know you have you're training for, you know, like the professional side of things, like how are you kind of like taking care of yourself, like to make sure you're okay as you're like navigating these transitions? Like, what are you doing to kind of manage that?
God, really. I don't have an app. I do want to get into journaling, but I don't really journal as of right now. I really just look to God, pray to him, ask him for advice, you know, give all glory to him, and just whatever path he leads me on.
So you're kind of like, I'm taking the road wherever it takes me, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of staying like humbled and focused in that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about like you, right?
Okay.
So like, who do you think you are without soccer? Like, who would you be? Who would you be? Like, if you had to tell somebody, when I'm not on the field, who is Phoenix?
Right. This is a hard question. I've been asked this probably 3 times and I still don't know the answer. Like, I don't have a for sure answer. And that's only because soccer has been a part of me since I was 5 years old. Like, you know, that's been my whole life. But I would say Phoenix is a hardworking, independent woman, who's God-fearing. She has a lot of goals, you know, very outgoing person, I would say. But like, for it to be one word, I don't really have just like, you know, when you see Phoenix, you see soccer player, Phoenix. I don't, you know, those are the words I would describe myself if I wasn't a soccer player.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you see the sport kind of being a way for you to kind of like maybe understand or transition who Phoenix can be, like how you use soccer, especially at the next level, to kind of like navigate understanding who Phoenix can be without soccer? Because I know a lot of players, like, you know, they find their voice kind of like after they get out of the collegiate space. Like, is that something that you're really looking to kind of get? Is like, how do you answer that question? And like, are you still like kind of searching for that?
I mean, it's always going to be a search for sure, after soccer, to see really who I am, because it's been a part of me. But I mean, in a way, it has shaped me to who I am right now. So yeah, I think it will be a bit of a struggle, but a search as well.
Okay. So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about NIL, right? Okay. Like this whole space, and, you know, back in the day, being an athlete, you had, I was just focused on playing for the love of the game, right? That's all. Like, there wasn't the transfer portal and all of these things, and people didn't, like, people transferred, but it wasn't a thing, right? How are you navigating, like, between like peers and team dynamics and stability and structure? Like, how do you feel like the NIL has really kind of changed, like, how you approach the game and like bonding and connecting with teams, knowing that it's changed the way that you guys kind of operate on to a certain degree?
I think for soccer, or at least for my team, NIL is kind of just getting started for us. I know for me, I just started getting into a lot of NIL things. I wanted to, my freshman year, I was, not really into it. I started expanding and learning more about it because I wasn't really sure what NIL was, what it means, what you can do with it. So I would say my team is starting to do a bit better now. We have good resources at our school that is helping us to understand it, to get ourselves out there with our branding. So as far as the like team dynamic, it didn't really affect soccer, I feel like, or like persuaded any of our decisions to go to a school because of NIL. Okay. We really are just at the school because we either love the school or, the program. Yeah. And NIL is just a little add-on. Yeah.
All right. So like, talk to me about, like you said, falling in love with the program. Like, what makes you fall in love with the program, right? Like, what do you think it requires to fall in love with the program? And in today's game, like, what do you have to do? How do you have to think or approach your sport and your coaches and like just the community to kind of really fall in love with the sport where you are?
I think we have a great support system from our donors, all of our academic people, our coaches, and even the players. Like I just feel like in order to really fall in love with the program, you have to have a good support in the background as well as a good team dynamic. And our team right now is, I really truly believe we'll have a really great season. Our team dynamic is probably the best I've seen it so far. Okay. So, I mean, the year hasn't even started yet for us, and we already say like we're so excited, and it's been already so good just from our summer conditioning we had. Yeah. So, like some like things that I feel like that you need to fall in love with the sport is the team dynamic, your support system, and then just kind of, yourself. I feel like the things around it. Like I love the community. Boulder is such a great community. Everyone's so nice. The surrounding too, like the scenery, it's just so breathtaking. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been there so much lately, and it's like, I mean, it's like you're in the mountains. Yes. Like the mountain is right next to you, having a sip of, coffee, whatever. It's like crazy. So I see that. So, and does Boulder like kind of feel like Hawaii for you? Like when you think about homes and the mountains and the things like that?
Definitely the mountains. Yeah. I can relate to home. Yeah. It's also very sunny, so that helps a lot with me not getting homesick. I mean, even when it's snowing, it's still so sunny. Yeah. So like that's okay. But yeah, it kind of does. It feels like a home away from home for sure.
You're about to be a senior, looking for the next step. Like, how are you kind of like helping, like maybe the younger athletes and newer athletes coming into the program, help them find their way through the program and through the campus life? And like, how are you kind of helping them find themselves in kind of like the sphere of like competition and trying to earn their spot and make a name for themselves in the sport? Like, what are some things that you're really trying to kind of share and impress upon them on like what it really takes to kind of like be successful and make it through this transition from like high school to like college sports?
Just kind of be a role model. So ever since, my junior year being an upperclassman, with those freshmen coming in, a lot of us had like similar things we were going through, whether it was, playing time, missing a home, didn't know how to adjust to certain things. So a lot of them, when I noticed things, or like they would come to me and ask me questions, I would, be open with them and tell them like, this is like, I've been through the same thing, kind of give them my experience and a role model in that way of letting them know like, hey, you're okay. I've been through this too. And like, look at where I'm at now, type of thing. So kind of just being a role model, being there for them, answering questions whenever they have it. And then just noticing, if they like seem confused from something or anything, like just to give them a reach out and a hand and say, here, I'm here for you. You need anything, because I know how it was as a freshman.
With the nature of like, where kind of like campus life is, and we were talking about this socially and things like that. Do you think it's easier these days to find yourself in a college community when, like you're saying, a lot of people take online classes versus are in person? There's this like separation between athletes and, non-athlete students and things like that. Like, how do you think like people can bridge that gap in terms of like, making that connection to the campus when it's not just your sport? So like if you get hurt and like you have to make different decisions, like how do you coach people around that?
That's a good question. Well, so for us, our freshmen, when you're a freshman, you're in a dorm. So they're around the college life, they're around the dorm life. So kind of coaching them around that, I feel like, it's kind of hard to say because each class is different. Like I know my class was different, and then talking to the freshmen after me, like they were a bit different as well. So I feel like whoever just comes in, it depends on their class, but kind of just giving them advice about certain things, like making smart decisions and what previous classes have done and what we shouldn't do. And especially knowing our coaches' expectations and our team expectations of, what they should follow by, just because you're the representing CU soccer.
I mean, and I feel like that's a lot of pressure, right? Yeah. Like you have to, there's, the expectations of the team, and there's the expectation of the school, and then you have your own, and then you have like the expectation of just like family, right? And like, but you're still trying to create your own identity, and you're trying to find your own voice, your own footing, but you have all these other people you have to worry about. Like, how do you find yourself knowing that you have to juggle all of these expectations and what people expect from you or want from you or would like to see from you, but you're trying to define yourself too. Like you're trying to make your own way.
Yeah. I mean, expectations, like that's just something that is going to happen no matter what. There's always going to be expectations, especially the expectation of, well, I know that this is something that I always have in the back of my mind is I have these expectations to fulfill and uphold as a CU women's soccer player. Because I'm like, a player on the team. I can't, represent us bad. So that is definitely something that is in the back of my mind for as far as like expectations. Like I know there's certain things, but I mean, a lot of the expectations that they hold us to is just for like better ourselves. I feel like it's normal expectations. It's not anything outrageous or crazy that like you couldn't achieve. So I would say, I mean, that's a bit harder.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you this, like music is a big thing of that we believe in is like represents like kind of our personality and like mood. Is that true for you? Like, do you have like...
I love music.
Yeah, you have. Yes. So like, give me like, say a song that you think is like your go-to song that represents like Phoenix's like high school experience.
So I wouldn't have a specific song.
Okay.
I have a genre.
Let's go.
So I mean, obviously growing up in Hawaii, I listened to island music, island reggae, all of that. So that was the music I would listen to. And like, just to name a few artists, I mean, probably won't know them, but like you can probably look it up afterwards,
Go ahead, shoot.
Like Mo'oli, Ke Alamaloa, Fiji, a lot of them, like I would just listen to. It's more of like island reggae. That's just the genre. Like,
so there's like an island reggae for Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's like new.
Yeah. So there's, I mean, because it has like a reggae vibe, but an island twist to it. Okay. Yeah.
So now one thing I know that is really big for you, like you're like one of the only like Polynesian, like, Hawaiian on the team. How does that like impact you and like being in an environment where like you're really representing a culture and in a space that a lot of you don't exist in?
Yeah.
Like talk to me about that. Like how does that work for you? Like,
Well, it's definitely an honor to represent, my island where I'm from. So it's just kind of that taking that with me and, remembering my roots, kind of spreading the culture just a little bit. I do have to alter a few things because some of my teammates will say, why do you talk like that? Because we do have an accent. We have a little bit of an accent. We kind of talk a bit differently. So I do alter it when I'm in Colorado compared to when I'm at home, because obviously at home, everybody speaks the same way. So a few things I have to alter, or they'll kind of not make fun, but, just call me out on it and everything. But also a big thing in Hawaii too is just spreading aloha, which is just, I just spread aloha everywhere I go. Whether I know the people in the facility or not, I'm smiling at them. I'll say hi. That's just kind of how I was raised. So a lot of people will say I'm friendly, because I am friendly. It's aloha. I just have to say hi to everybody and make sure everyone is seen and welcomed. And especially being the only Poly, the only Hawaiian in the host U athletics. As of right now, hopefully we get more. But as of right now, being the only one, it is a bit different. I know that people ask me, a lot of questions about it. I actually do an event for us Polynesians in the spring to teach the student athletes and help them understand our culture and everything. So
you were saying about, you try to make people feel happy and things like that. That's what you do. So can you give me a song or a genre that represents Phoenix when she's not feeling happy? Who's Phoenix behind, when she's not in front of everybody making them smile, or she's smiling with them? What represents a Phoenix in that way?
A song? I think it would just depend on what kind of mood I'm in.
Yeah.
Certain R&B songs for sure.
Yeah.
Just to sing my heart out, just get the emotions out in that type of way.
Yeah.
But I don't have a certain.
You don't have a go-to song? There's no go-to.
To cry to?
Whatever feelings, whatever feelings you need to get. It doesn't have to be cry. It could be you just searching your feelings and you I'm in the mood. This is the song that I go to just search my feelings.
See, that just depends, because it's more of artists.
Okay, let's go.
So Janae Aiko, she has a few songs that I'll listen to. Kehlani has a few songs. SZA for sure. It's more of R&B people. Chris Brown for sure.
Chris Brown, really?
Yeah, he has
your feelings.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
His older songs.
Oh, his older song.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I thought you was talking about Chris Breezy. I thought
Chris Breezy.
Chris Breezy.
Yes,
because there's Chris Brown, but then there's Chris Breezy.
No, C Breezy. Yes.
Oh, C Breezy. Okay.
Yes, right. His new album. He has some songs that actually Residuals, Angel Numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, he has some songs that actually can make you feel.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you feel being an athlete, there is spaces for you to kind of be vulnerable, be softer, be kind of in a space where it doesn't require you to be the athlete, the champion, or the face of a brand or whatnot? Do you think there's safe spaces for you, on the campus or in the community, for you to kind of show that? Or do you have to be the athlete all the time? And which one do you feel comfortable in?
Our school does a very good job of having access to places that make us feel safe about our mental health. We have PHP in our school. It's our mental health. I've been there before. I've talked to them. I felt very safe there. It's a good space. And I feel even our education, our educational people, our administrators, they do a good job of letting it be known that they hear us, they see us, and that they do a good job of understanding their student athletes, and they can see when they're not having a good day or whatever it may be. But for me, my safe place to talk to someone was definitely PHP. Even my trainer that we have, she was she's a second mom to me. So a safe place for me. And then I know not to talk to anyone, but just to feel safe is always to just be on that soccer field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
You just take it out on the field.
Yeah, take it out, forget about whatever it is. Kind of just resort to my happy place.
Was there a time that you felt like, hey, this is like too much and I needed to take a break? And did you feel like empowered to be like, I need a break, or I need to take some time off or whatnot, and not feel like it would cost you anything, but that you would feel supported? Like, do you think there's that space to actually go through that?
I've never had a moment like that. But I do feel like we do have I feel like people could do that, possibly in our school or on my team, with like communicating with our coaches and everything, because they try to be as transparent as they can with us, and they want us to be transparent with them. I feel like we do have a good resource for us. But for me, I just never personally felt like I had way too much and I need to take a step back. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that's like a personality thing, that like you're like, you spread aloha, so it's like, like you have that kind of like is rooted in, like, when you feel those things, you kind of have that natural community thing that's like always like helping you push through that?
Yeah. I do. I feel like I have good people surrounding me as well. Whether it's other athletes that I'm friends with, my friends outside of sports, my family. I have good people around me to help me keep grounded. Yes. So for me, it probably is part of the aloha, just me being myself and putting a smile on my face all the time. But then also having people around me that understand me and know me, that I can communicate and talk to.
Thank you for like taking this time to really like open up and share yourself with us. I mean, I really appreciate it. I know you're like super busy and you have a lot going on. So like taking the trip out here to come and do this. We really love it. We really appreciate it. And we're hoping that people get to know you and are able to follow you and try to see the other side of you as an athlete, and be able to see you as a person, and how you're kind of looking at the world and how you're trying to navigate and manage getting through the world. And I think that's an important journey for an athlete, for people to see, is that side of it. And so we thank you for taking us on the journey for a little bit.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.